surprise, surprise, you're finding us at another cafe. So it's Wednesday today. This is Wednesday afternoon, and we just picked up another car at Budget because we have some pretty interesting festivities for tomorrow. Some plans that are a little bit outside the city that would have been a real pain to get to with public transit and would have wasted a lot of time. So got the car, and you'll see why tomorrow. But Nicole really wanted to try a restaurant out of downtown. It's a Xi'an-based restaurant, Xi'an cuisine, and it's a bit of a trek. I think it's sort of like in the east side, but on the way we stopped at a coffee place that I had found, like research on the internet, called Palette Coffee Roasters. And he was telling me that this is actually like Little Saigon, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because you were saying on the way in that you were just pointing out all the Vietnamese restaurants.
Like,
yeah.
Viet subs.
Yeah, you were moaning a little bit.
Wait, what?
Because you want Viet food.
I love Viet food.
So I think we'll have to try Viet foods before we leave.
How are we going to get back to Little Saigon without wheels?
I don't know. We may not be able to do it in Little Saigon, but it's pretty cool that it's a Little Saigon. Yeah. We don't have one of those in Toronto, I don't think, do we? We don't really have, like, this looks like a huge concentration of Vietnamese shops and restaurants. I think our Chinatown's we have to share it with a Vietnamese town. But it's not like this. No, it's not. This is crazy. Yes, there's a lot more here. Yeah, so coffee here is really good. I had another pour over. It was another Ethiopian, I believe. And also picked up some coffee beans because, as you'll see tomorrow when I show you what I picked up yesterday, what we raced out of the art gallery for, I needed coffee. Like, I ran out of coffee. So this worked out. They're a roaster, so got some really nice smelling coffee. Yeah, and the atmosphere here, or the room here, is really nice. It's really cozy. Has the hipster vibe. Yeah, and the guys working here are really nice. Yeah, really friendly. So yeah, we're gonna finish up our coffee here, finish doing our bit of work, and then we're off for dinner. I'm starving. Me too. I haven't eaten since probably noonish maybe, and it's almost 7. I was bad today. I had ramen and did not film it, did not share. I saw the camera, and then I saw the chopsticks. You ate it at home? Yeah. You ate it at home when I was in the gym, and you didn't film it. I was hungry. I think as punishment, you'll have to watch me eat dinner for 10 minutes before you're allowed to touch it. Okay, I wouldn't do that to you. Plus, I value my life. We'll see you at the restaurant. So that was Palette. That was a really nice coffee shop. A lot of seating, very friendly staff, good coffee, and just a great place to hang out for a little over an hour doing some work. And now we're walking back to our car. Hopefully it's still there. And we got to find this restaurant. I don't think it's too far. Hopefully it's not crazy busy. The way we found this is, I don't know, Strictly Dumpling, the YouTube channel, he went there to eat. He did a couple episodes in Vancouver, and this was his favorite Xi'an restaurant that he went to. And apparently he mentioned on a video after those videos that he got word from people that restaurant's now slammed ever since he did his video. So fingers crossed that has died down a little bit. And we're just walking through this nice neighborhood, a mix of houses being rebuilt into nice looking things and some older housing here. It looks like this area is going to be an up and coming neighborhood. It looks like it's going to be, what's the word? Gentrified? Gentrified? Yeah. Gentrified? It looks like it will eventually, hopefully, be a really nice neighborhood. The streets are really nice. There's lots of trees, big trees and leafy. There was one section of the street where the trees were sort of cut into an archway because I guess they were growing straight into the road. And so you're driving through this really nice tree arch. It was pretty cool. Our car is still here, so we're gonna get in there and make our way to the restaurant. All right, we found the restaurant, and we ended up parking on the main road, which required paying. So we had to pay for parking here, and I didn't have any change. So they have this really cool thing set up here called Pay by Phone, and you can go to a website and pay, or you can download their app and pay. So that took me, 5 minutes or so to set up, but then it was super easy. You just type in the code on the
on the meter, and then it finds it for you, knows where it is. You put in your vehicle information, and then you can pay with Apple Pay. Then it only cost me 75 cents. I can't believe I didn't have 75 cents, but that's good for an hour and a half. So here we are at the restaurant. Nicole's in there figuring out what we're gonna have. Hopefully she's figured it out because I'm starving and I just want to order. Slight snag. That restaurant only takes cash. It's cash only, so I don't have any cash on me. Hence I had to pay 75 cents through an app using Apple Pay to get parking. But another benefit of being here in Canada, I don't have to worry about transaction fees or changing money into any other currency. I can just go to my bank and withdraw some cash. So let's see how much I should get here. I think I'm gonna get 80. That should be enough for tonight and a little extra for tomorrow just in case. All right, Canadian money, 420s. We're in business.
All right, I got the cash. That was not too far actually, just a couple of minutes down the road to pick up some cash. So yeah, remember that, cash only here. This restaurant is called JooJak. It's JooJak restaurant. We heard about this restaurant from watching the Strictly Dumpling channel on YouTube. So thank you, Mikey Chen. This was his favorite Xi'an restaurant. He's from Xi'an, so we trust his judgment on this one. So we decided to come way out here to try this place. We met the owner. She's really nice and has a lot of information. If you want to know anything about Xi'an or anything about the food, she'd be more than willing to explain it all to you. And it's quite fascinating actually. JooJak, the name of the restaurant, is actually a magical bird back from her hometown of Xi'an. It represents the southern part of Xi'an. The other interesting tidbit that she shared with us was, like, you see a lot of interesting food and influences in Xi'an cooking that you don't see in other places in China. For example, like the burger thing I had from Kung Fu, which I'm also going to get here. It's a specialty here, but that is a Xi'an food. And the bread is not something you find anywhere else in China, and that's because they typically don't use ovens for cooking. But in Xi'an, they bake the bread, and that's an influence that came into Xi'an. And the way all these influences found their way in Xi'an is that Xi'an was the end and the start of the Silk Road. And so a lot of people were coming in from the Middle East. There was actually quite a big Muslim population in Xi'an, but they all came into the city with you know, their flavors from back home, and it all mingled and mixed with the Chinese cuisine, and you have this really unique Xi'an cuisine. So those burgers, that bread, is because of that. Another thing that you'll find here is like lamb and cumin and that kind of stuff, which is not typically Chinese. So I'm really looking forward to the meal. We're gonna order up a storm here, I think. Try a lot of different things. Nicole said that she will eat leftovers if there's anything left. So we're gonna order a few more dishes than we normally would. But this place looks really legit, so we're really excited. All right, our first dish has come. It looks really scary, to be honest, because it looks super spicy, and I can't take a lot of spice. I can do okay, but this just looks like it's gonna blow me away. This is steamed chicken in a chili oil sauce, and I keep staring down on it because I'm actually quite afraid. So let's give this a try.
Make sure you get lots of chili oil.
No, not a lot of chili oil. It's spicy, but it's really good. It's got a really good flavor. God, I put my tongue on that. Put my finger on that flavor. It's not just spice, like there's something under it that's really, really good. We'll see if Nicole can identify it.
So I've had to watch Mike dive into the chicken while I salivate. Now it's finally my turn. I've been dying to have this chicken since I seen it on Strictly Dumpling, and now it's my turn, Mikey Chen. Oh my god, they're so good. I knew it was good immediately because when the chicken hits your tongue and the texture is just has that silky texture, and it's juicy. That's exactly what I'm tasting. Nice silky texture, and the flavor is really nice. As for the spice, it kind of reminds me, not exactly, but remember when we went to the Mongolian hot pot and we got the satay sauce, and I think it's the same. Like there's that same undercurrent.
It's good.
It is so good. I'm gonna go in for another piece.
All right.
It is spicy though, so this is not for people who don't like spice, because it will make you sweat.
Yeah, I'm starting to sweat from that one piece. Second dish is here. This is my dish. This was my pick, and it is what they call a burger. It's a Xi'an specialty, and it's another dish which is influenced from the Middle East, because they didn't, you don't really see a lot of bread type stuff in China, but it's sort of like I was saying when we had it earlier in the week. It's kind of like pita bread, so it's got a same kind of flavor, same kind of flair to it. But this one looks really good. This one is stuffed with lamb and green pepper. The super traditional one would be pork, but I wanted to try something different tonight. And the bread is nice and toasty, nice and warm still. They must have just grilled it, sliced it open, and threw the meat in.
Oh, I can hear the crispiness.
That is so good. The bread is really good.
Okay,
It's got a bit more thickness than the one I had earlier in the week. It's spicy. It's got a spice hitting me all of a sudden. Whew. But the bread is thicker, so it's got a more crunch on the outside and a bit deeper, like a bit thicker of the fluffy stuff to absorb some of the juices.
Sure.
Yeah, the bread is really good. And the meat inside, it's really well flavored with cumin. And there is a spice there that, I don't know if you can see me sweating already. That is really good.
Mike and I were really lucky to wander into this restaurant at this particular time on this particular night, because it's really quiet. From what we've heard, this place is always packed, and we were lucky enough to come in and meet the owner, who explained to us that in China they don't really use the oven, so a burger is not something that you would come across anywhere else except in Xi'an. So I am so glad that they're using their oven there, because they are making good food with it.
So what do you think of the meat?
I really like the meat and the bread. I like that the bread is really crunchy and flaky on the outside. It's soft in the middle, and then the meat juice penetrates the inner layer. Really good.
Third dish has shown up, and it's dumplings. There's 3 ways you can get dumplings here. There's fried, which we got. There's boiled, but there's also the traditional Xi'an style was like a spicy sour soup.
Yes.
And we opted for the fried, which I think was a good call given how spicy the other stuff is. I don't think I would survive the spicy dumplings, but let's give this a try. They're really juicy. You got a good juice in there, nice soft meat, a good ratio with the chives and the pork.
There's nothing like a juicy dumpling.
Yeah, they're really juicy. They're really good. And I appreciate that they're not overly fried. But I find that makes them
Tough.
more difficult to eat.
Yeah. And I think that it makes them tough too.
Yeah, it makes them tough. So when you're biting them, they just explode. But this, you can sort of get your teeth into a lot easier and get a mouthful of the juice.
I can see the juice squirting out from the camera lens.
Yeah, it's so good.
Which is your favorite dish so far?
I don't know. They're all really good.
Boy.
I'm falling into that trap again where I can't decide.
I think we're about midway through our meal, and we've been enjoying everything so far. And I've been gobbling up the dumplings, and the dumplings, if you can see, have a very unique shape. Everything in this restaurant is made by hand. And when you bite into the food, you can taste the food, there's nothing that they've brought in from outside. Everything is created by the chef in the kitchen and made with
Love and care.
or JooJak hands.
Yeah. The lamb burger was so good that I couldn't resist trying the pork burger. So this is the traditional one, as I mentioned. Traditionally, Xi'an is a pork burger.
Look how big and well filled that
Yeah,
skin
and
is.
it's really juicy. Like, I don't know if you can see the juice coming out the sides.
But they're really, you can see that they're really generous with the meat.
Mm-hmm.
The filling, that's it.
That's good. The bun again has the really crunchy outside, but soft inside. It's amazing.
So if you have,
And I have a pulled pork inside this one. And you can just see it's just dripping into my bowl.
okay, so Nicole's favorite question. The pita burger wars, which one wins? The lamb or the pork?
I'm gonna go with the pork.
Oh, good.
And the main reason is because it's a lot juicier than the lamb. And the pork meat is really tender. It just falls apart. You can see it shredding inside. Yeah, this was a good call.
I guess when a restaurant is famous for something, there's a reason for it. Because when we ordered the lamb burger, she did try to tell us that the pork is what they're famous for.
Mm-hmm.
And she was right.
Mm-hmm. She knows her food. Next dish. I'm getting full, Nicole.
Don't worry, I'll take care of
I
it.
think we ordered too much, but you said you were gonna have takeout. Although you wanted to take the chicken home, and I've been eating a lot of it. So if I'm looking a little red, it's because I've been eating that chicken. It's really good. So our next dish is a noodle dish, and it's a hand-pulled noodles, and it's very rustic looking, very big, thick noodle. I don't think I filmed the bowl first.
Oh, you haven't mixed it around with
I did. I mixed it around a bit, but there's the bowl. So this is in a spicy chili oil sauce. It's a few vegetables and big noodles, and they look like they're soaking up that spicy sauce really well, which is I guess generally a good thing, but could be a bad thing for me. Let's try this. Mmm. Wow. The first thing that hits me with these is this, like the texture of these noodles. They're really soft, but they're not like overly chewy. Yeah, I really like the texture.
How's the spice level? Is
It's
it
spicy. I'm starting to, yeah, my mouth is on fire.
Is the spicy level similar to the chicken?
I'm gonna say this is spicier than the chicken.
Whoa.
I have to eat it though. The noodle's really good.
You're a different color than when we walked into the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I got an idea for the theme of this show. We can call it How Red Can Mike Get?
Pretty red. I think you gotta try those.
I think I do too. When I was watching and listening to Mike film his segment about those noodles and he was talking about the texture, I was like, really? Could it really be that fantastic? And indeed it is. It's so, I don't know how to, it's not just soft, but it's
Delicate.
It's delicate, yeah. It's like silk or velvet.
Yeah.
It's like sheets of velvet or silk against the tongue.
Mmm. All right, so we got a bit of info on these famous Xi'an noodles. They're called, I can't pronounce it exactly, but it's basically kind of sounds like biangbiang noodles. And that name comes from the way it's prepared. So they start off with a lump of dough and they stretch it out to start forming the noodles, and then they bang it on the counter bang, as they're continuing to stretch it and bang it. And that's how they get it nice and thin and that very nice soft texture. And yes, this is a very famous Xi'an dish, which apparently now is starting to proliferate across China. Like, she was telling us that you can go anywhere in China now and find Xi'an food. And I hope that happens here. I hope it just starts to grow, because these burgers are really good. Those are a good snack, and all this food has been really good. All right, the last dish is here, which I'm sad about. I think we made a bigger dent in all of this than we were expecting. Like, the chicken's gone, the dumplings are gone, there's still some of the hand-pulled noodles, both those burgers are gone. So I'm getting kind of full, but also my tongue just feels like it's lost all feeling. The spice has done me in, and I'm sweating and I'm hot, and my face, I'm sure, is red. But the last dish is the same dish, I believe, as we had at Kung Fu Noodles. But I'm expecting this to just blow Kung Fu out of the water. The burger did, definitely. So let's see. As you can see, the noodle is different. It's a much thinner noodle. The noodles we had with this last time was more like the hand-pulled noodle. It looks like it's absorbing the sauce equally well. Let's try these noodles. I'm expecting that these won't be quite as spicy as everything else, or at least I'm hoping. The noodles are really well cooked. They're still slightly al dente. They've got a really good chew. I'm having a hard time placing the sauce. It's got a bit of a sourness to it. And the meat is good in there. And again, the cucumber adds a really nice, refreshing element to this dish.
Do you know what this dish is called?
This is fried sauce, like noodles with fried sauce, right?
Yes.
And it's pork, I believe. The meat is pork.
This is a pretty famous dish that you can find in a lot of places in China and even in Taiwan. And every region does their own little
Variation.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely quite different, but very good. Very, very good.
Don't eat it all.
I might.
Wow, Mikey Chen, thank you so much for coming to this restaurant and telling everybody about it, because we've had a delicious meal, and I think it's one of our best meals we've had since we've been in Vancouver, and we've had a lot of good meals. My two favorite dishes was the chicken. The chicken was, the texture was perfect, and the spice, it has such good flavor. It wasn't just fire in your mouth or anything. It had such a authentic, I don't know, okay, not authentic because I haven't been to Xi'an, but it just had a delicious flavor. And the second dish I loved that was exceptional was the Xi'an noodles. It was like eating sheets of velvet or silk. It was just fantastic, the texture. I had never tasted any noodles that tasted like that before. I think one of the reasons why the food is so good here is that they don't use MSG. Everything's made by hand, and the owner is really, really proud of her heritage, and it just shines. The food just shines.
For dishes for me, I'm gonna have to go with the chicken. It looked really scary when it first came. It was kind of like glowing red and taunting me, like it was gonna destroy my mouth, but it didn't. The spice was there, and I did sweat, but the flavor was so good. Like I was, usually when I get spicy food, I don't taste the flavor. My mouth just is on fire. But somehow this just imparted a really good flavor into my mouth, as well as the spice. And the two burgers were insane. Those would make a really good snack pretty much any time of day. The bread was really on point. The filling was really juicy, really flavorful. The hand-pulled noodles, also very high on the list. Just the texture of those noodles. Never had noodles like that before. Really, really good. So definitely try and come and check this place out. The owner is also really nice and really knowledgeable and really proud of her Xi'an heritage. As you will tell from the food when you taste it. She'll be able to fill you in on any of the history of Xi'an and how the food came to be and all the flavors and whatnot. That was a really fun talking to her. What else to say? just the quality of the food is really good. All handmade, no MSG, really quality ingredients. And that's probably why it is so tasty and so good. So I think that's it for us. I'm probably rambling a little bit now just because I'm in a bit of a coma from all that food I ate. Kind of somehow get home and get to bed. But very happy right now.
A few moments later.
Wow, that food was so good. That meal was very filling, very spicy, and very tasty. She was telling us at the end there, because we were raving about the chicken, the chili chicken that she had, that was an original recipe by her husband. Her husband sort of reinvented a Xi'an dish to their own sort of variant of it. So it's its own flavor. And that was spectacular. But we've run into a bit of a snag. So we walked out of that restaurant, well, we kind of stumbled out of that restaurant super full and kind of in a daze. And we were walking to the car and we didn't see it. And we were sure of where we parked it, but we just kept walking hoping that we missed it. But we didn't. We got to a point where we knew for sure we didn't park that far away. So then luckily that app that I used to pay for the parking had referenced the parking meter, because each parking meter has a unique number. So we went back to where we were pretty sure it was, and the number matched up. And the car was gone, and some other car was parked where our car used to be. And we figured, wow, someone must have stolen it. So I looked up on Google the Vancouver police phone number and called them, and I was sitting on hold. And we were on hold for a good 5 minutes, I would say. And I noticed on the meter that there was a phone number for the towing company that would tow your car if it was that. So we didn't think like that was the case, because we were parked at a meter. I had paid. I kept adding payment to it from the app as we were eating, because we were there for a long time. But just waiting on hold forever with the police. So we said, let's just try this and see what happens. Just maybe something weird happened. And then just as we were doing that, a parking enforcement officer rolled up behind that car, and Nicole went to go talk to him while I was talking to the tow truck company. And so as it turns out, they have our car at the impound lot, and we realized after like really studying it and watching the guy write this other car a ticket that we parked in a motorcycle only spot. What the heck is how does that make any sense? The spot was clearly big enough for my car. I paid the meter, but noticed that the meter had a motorcycle only symbol on it, and the top of the meter was colored green and the others weren't. So there was clearly some indication there that I totally missed. So anyways, I was gonna say long story short, but I think this has actually been kind of a long story so far. We are now walking to the impound lot, which is an 1.5 hour walk from the restaurant. We decided to do that just because we have time. The lot person told me that if we pick up the car before midnight, it's cheaper. So we're just gonna go do that. We should get there by 11:30. Secondly, I don't mind the walk because of all that food I just ate. Helped me burn off some of those noodles, all that food. And thirdly, this is gonna allow us to see part of Vancouver we wouldn't have seen otherwise. I don't think we would have come here just to walk on this street. So we're probably gonna walk through Little Saigon. And to make matters worse, I don't know if you all realize that Nicole and I have Invisalign, which is like a version of braces. We're trying to get our teeth fixed. Nicole left her Invisalign wrapped in a tissue at the restaurant. So I called the lady and she's looking for them now, and if she can find them, I guess we'll go back and pick up the teeth if they're still there, if she's still there with the teeth, with the Invisalign once we get the car. So needless to say, it's gonna be a late night. Luckily, I took the day off tomorrow so we could go do these activities that required renting the car, which has gotten towed. But things could be a lot worse. This is an interesting adventure, and hopefully you all are getting a bit of a kick out of this. So I gotta call the lady back at the restaurant and see if she found them. We'll update you in a little while.
More moments later.
Quick update, it's been what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes since that last clip, and called the restaurant back. They found Nicole's Invisalign, so then they'll be there till midnight, they said easily. So once we get the car, we'll be heading back there, get the Invisalign, and then head back home to bed, because we have a long day tomorrow, so we're gonna need a good sleep.
1 hour later.
All right, update. We've been going for over an hour. We've got about 15 minutes until we get to the impound lot. And we hit a spot, we're in Mount Pleasant, the Mount Pleasant area now. And we can see down over downtown Toronto, downtown Vancouver. We can see the lookout tower. It's glowing like a purple right now. I can't wait to get there. It's almost 11:30. We should get there by 11:30. And then we gotta basically drive this entire way back to the restaurant and then back home. So we're looking at like a 1:30 in bed kind of scenario. The nights before, we are doing some pretty epic stuff. We'll update you again when we get to the lot.
20 minutes later.
We made it to the impound lot. We're on this road called Industrial, and there's a lot of impoundy looking stuff. At least it's relatively presentable. There is the entrance. City impound lot. 425 Industrial Avenue. How glamorous. Let's go get our dumb car.
Moments later.
We've been reunited. We're back with our car. That was a walk, hour and a half. And now we're going back to the restaurant to get Nicole's Invisalign. I was asking the guy, because in Toronto this is I feel very rare. When you get a ticket, you don't get towed. The only place I know that you get towed is if you park somewhere where you shouldn't during rush hour, and if it's blocking a main artery, then they'll come and they'll pull all the cars out because it's screwing up traffic. If you just get a parking ticket on a road where it's not in that situation, they don't tow you. But the guy here said that 90% of the time they'll just tow you. So you get ticketed and then towed. So lesson learned. Also, we have to pay more attention where we park. So back to the restaurant.
1 eternity later.
Made it home. Oh, feels very good to be home. That was a long day. I've been up since 5:15 in the morning, and it's now 12:30 the next day morning. Very late at night. And got the car parked downstairs, found our spot, and Nicole's in the shower. I'm about to get ready to go to bed. We have probably a long day, or at least a tiring day tomorrow. We're doing two activities, two biggish activities. One I've been looking forward to since we were at home, and I did a bit of research and found out about this. But actually I didn't really know the full extent of what this experience has to offer until we went to the tourist office here on the first or second day that we were here. And the other one we found out about just a couple days ago when the Airbnb host came by to drop off a few more supplies. We asked him what he would recommend we do, and he suggested this thing. This thing is going to be rather grueling. There's a hint for anybody that is from or knows about Vancouver, and the other one is just going to be, I think, a fun experience. So gotta get to bed, have to get up relatively early tomorrow and get off, and yeah, I'm tired. That was a long walk. I wonder how many K it was. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up. Not too many K. 7.2 kilometers. Took us about an hour and a half to walk. But that went really smoothly. Luckily, just went in, paid our whatever, paid our fine, not our fine, but our towing charge or whatever they call it, and our car was waiting and we were on our way. It was very quick. Gonna do a bit of packing right now so that tomorrow morning we don't have to do too much and then get to bed. So we will see you tomorrow for a fun long day.